Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. As always, it's me, Ivan, and in today's video we're checking out a watch from a new brand called Englemaan. This is their Voyager model and it's heavily inspired by the Sinn 556 California Sky. Now, as you can tell, it might not score high in the creativity department, but straight away, let me tell you, it makes up for that with all the features you would expect to find in a solid tool watch. So without any further delay, let's take a closer look at it. The first thing we should talk about is the packaging, because the unboxing experience is surprisingly good for such an affordable piece. The box arrives super well protected, and honestly, damaging it during shipping seems borderline impossible. By the way, this is the first watch I've ever received in a vacuum-sealed plastic bag, and here is a picture of it. Inside the box, the first thing you find is the instruction manual, which also includes the warranty card, as well as a really nice bracelet resizing too, similar to Sinn's. And then you get to the watch itself, which sits in this high-quality leather case. Now, as I've said before, packaging isn't something I usually care too much about, but when it's this good, it definitely adds to the whole experience. Oh, and you even get a gift bag in case you want to put the watch in it and tell your wife that someone at work gave it to you. By the way, this is the default packaging. There is also an eco-friendly option that will actually save you around 20 bucks. And when you think about it, it's not a bad choice either. Alright, let's start looking at the watch itself. And as always, the first thing we need to get out of the way are the dimensions. They're quite similar to those of the Sinn 856, with a case diameter of 41mm, a lug-to-lug of 48, a thickness of 11.8mm, and a 20mm lug width. As for the weight, sized for my 17cm or 6.7 inch wrist, it comes in at 151 grams, which may sound like a lot, but don't worry about it, as the bracelet and clasp do a great job of keeping the watch perfectly balanced on the wrist. In terms of wrist presence, the Voyager looks like a proper tool watch, giving off those military vibes that are typical for this kind of design. Guys, speaking of the design, this is the controversial part about this piece. It looks almost identical to the Sinn 556 California Sky Limited Edition, just with slightly larger dimensions. There are a few subtle differences, such as the lack of text on the dial, the color of the indices, and some case changes like the crown guards and case back. But yeah, for the most part, it does look a lot like a Sinn. Of course, for some people, that might be a deal breaker, but for others, like myself, it will be the biggest selling point, especially when you consider that the California Sky model is no longer available, and it was pretty hard to get in the first place. Now, whether you like the design or not, there is something about this Englemaan that isn't up for debate, and that's the build quality. Guys, this is a very well made piece. It feels solid in the hand, and as I mentioned at the beginning, it comes with all the bells and whistles you would expect from a great tool watch. For starters, you get a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown and case back, and 200 meters of water resistance. Then, besides the quick-release spring bars on the bracelet, you also get drilled lugs for easy strap changes. In addition, the case is anti-magnetic to 80,000 amperes per meter. That's equivalent to 1000 gauss, which is the same rating as the discontinued Rolex mil-gauss. And finally, to top it all off, the entire watch is hard-coated, giving it 1000 HV scratch resistance. So yes, feel free to have your opinions about the design, but getting all this for around $250 is, in my view, beyond impressive. The bracelet is also fantastically well made. It's nicely finished, with no sharp edges, and as I already mentioned a moment ago, it provides excellent comfort. It's got the familiar H-link design, and comes with solid links all around, joined together with screws. And by the way, they've gone with anti-loosening screws, which is something we don't see very often. It also comes with an on-the-fly clasp, the same type most micro brands are using these days. It's milled and it gives you about 10 mm of fine adjustment. Alright guys, it's time we have a word about the dial. It's got this very nice deep black color with orange hands and indices, which results in excellent legibility thanks to the strong contrast they create. Once again, the design is very similar to Sinn's. The hand shape seems identical, and so does the font of the indices. What's different here is the color and the lack of text. Personally, I really like California style dials. They look clean and symmetrical, and I love the fact that they were widely used in military watches back in the 1930s and 40s. And you know what? That's probably my favorite dial design for a military style watch. And of course, here's a quick look at the lume. I couldn't tell you exactly what kind of lume Englemaan has used here. On their website they call it a custom developed hyperglow mix, and truth be told, it performs quite well considering this is a printed dial. It has a nice green color, and from my experience it lasts a long time. It doesn't stay super bright, but it definitely remains visible. Next, I guess I should tell you a little bit about the movement. Inside the Voyager beats the reliable PT5000, and the accuracy I'm getting is spot on, with just 0.2 milliseconds of beat error. You know, so far I've had quite a few watches with this movement, and I've never had a single issue with it. However, recently I've seen a few people mention that this caliber doesn't like to be hand-wound, as doing it too often can supposedly cause problems. Because of that, I've started being a bit more careful with it, though honestly I'm not worried at all, and you shouldn't be either, because in the worst case scenario, you can get a brand new PT5000 on AliExpress for around $65. There you have it guys, the Englemaan Voyager might not be the most original design out there, but when it comes to two watches, it offers a package that's seriously hard to beat for the money. You're getting a sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, an anti-magnetic case, a hard coating with 1000 HV scratch resistance, a solid bracelet with an on-the-fly clasp, and a reliable PT5000 movement, all for around $250. Englemaan has clearly gone after Sinn's entire catalog, but you know what? That's not for me to worry about. I'm here for the watches. And this one, in my opinion, absolutely delivers. Thank you so much for watching guys, I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as I've got a lot more videos coming your way, including some really interesting pieces you don't want to miss. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.